Boom, boom, boom. This is Jared, and I'm back. Hey, this is your host of Warriors Quest, and I'm super excited to do another show tonight. We've got an awesome guest. Man, this is a guest that really needs no introduction, but I'll do it anyway. This guy does so much, has so much on his shoulders. He's a guy who runs his own label. He's a vocalist for Taipan, and finds time somehow to go touring with this band and does dialysis all on top of that. Man, I'm excited to bring on Michael Black. Welcome to Warriors Quest, Michael.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Glad to be here.
You're welcome, man. I'm super excited. You know, your story. You know, I connected with you because I saw you post something on a kidney disease Facebook group, and and I started to read more about Taipan, and it really interested me and intrigued me, and that's when I messaged you. You know, and tried to see if maybe we could get together and collaborate and do an interview. And man, I'm happy to have you on Warriors Quest. Could you kind of give people maybe an introduction and introduce yourself and let people know where you're from and kind of where you come from?
Sure. Actually, my real name is Michael Crawford. I go by Mike Black, Michael Black on Facebook because I try not to, divulge too much. It's
Right.
such a huge social media. I'd rather keep it. And I started in a band called Black Oil before Taipan, so that's where that last name came from.
Okay. All
And
right. All right. Yeah.
basically,
So
I run a label called Dead Sea Records, and I sing in a couple different bands. One is Taipan, and another one is called Mike Black and the Heart Attacks, and that's a cover band, just rock.
okay.
And we go to Vegas and play places like that that usually don't let the more death metal stuff play.
Okay. All right. All right. And when you do covers, what kind of songs do you play when you do covers?
Oh man, everything from Bobby Brown and Madonna to Slayer and
Oh,
Slipknot.
right on.
Whatever they want. Yeah,
Okay. Very cool.
we did some animals and stuff like that.
Uh huh. All right, very cool. So, you know, the when when you were growing up, I mean, how far along, or when did you first understand that you had kidney disease?
Okay, so I have something called Alport syndrome, and
Okay,
it's a pretty rare disease, but now more and more people are being diagnosed with it since it was recognized. Um, I was diagnosed when I was about 10 because
oh wow,
I was having a lot of health issues my as a child, and basically every time I would go, it would be as red as blood, and my parents were very worried, so they would take me to Cedar Sinai Hospital in L.A. and that's where they figured out that I had kidney disease at even 10 years old. But my kidneys
wow,
didn't actually fail till I was about 20, and that's when I started dialysis.
wow. Okay, so 20 years old, you were doing dialysis, and
Yeah. So off and on, I've been doing dialysis for 25 years. I had a transplant in between, so I
okay,
did dialysis for like 5 years, and now I've been doing it for 7 years. And
okay,
right in there, I had a nice kidney that lasted about 14 years that my dad donated to me.
okay. Right on, right on. Wow, that's a great gift that your dad gave you then.
Oh
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah, he's still here too. That's
Uh
what's
huh.
nice. He's been just as healthy after he donated as before.
Right on. Yeah. Last night I did another broadcast where I had three living kidney donors on the same broadcast, and that's interesting to hear you say that because you know sometimes that's such a misconception that when somebody donates that they feel differently or they or maybe their health is different. In many cases, just like you said, they feel just as they don't feel any different than before or they feel the same.
Well, in fact, the doctor explained to us that after my dad donates, that his kidney is going to grow to compensate for the fact that there's only one in his body,
Yeah.
and it did. It almost doubled in size. So
Wow.
basically, it became a super kidney and was working as two kidneys.
Uh-huh.
And most people's bodies would do the same, and the
Hmm.
kidney would grow to compensate for the fact that there's only one.
Very cool. Very cool. That is very cool to hear, like, from somebody else who's had a dad, who's donated to him. Um, what I mean, it lasted you 14 years, which is really good. What has your dad said about it? Has he ever said, has he has he said I'd do it again, or what kind of feelings or sentiments does he have about having done that?
Yeah, we were just talking about it because I was up here in California on November 2nd this year, which is the anniversary of the day he gave me the kidney. He gave it to me in 1999, November 2nd.
Okay.
So it was, we talked about it there, and obviously it's brought us even closer as a father and son when you start trading organs.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool. That's a great bond. I can only imagine how that may have brought you real closer. Yeah,
Yeah, plus it helped us both because we
uh-huh.
both had some bad habits that we had to quit. He quit drinking and smoking just to donate the kidney to me.
Oh,
After
wow.
smoking for like 40 years, you know, he
Okay.
dropped it within a month. And then I had to quit some habits myself too.
Okay. Wow. So with him having stopped smoking, how long did it take him before, he could be deemed as healthy or determined that the hospital would allow him to donate to you?
Well, we actually recovered together in the same house, and I recovered quicker than he did,
All right.
which wasn't long. I recovered in about a month, 30 days,
Uh-huh.
and he recovered in about 60 days.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
I was able to help, you know, take care of him while he recovered.
Very cool. Very nice. So, so at 20 years old, you started doing dialysis. And then 1999 is when he donated to you. And
Yeah.
then it lasted you another 14 years. And
Hmm.
so as you started, when the doctors met with you and gave you information that, hey, it looks like it's going to be closer to the time where this kidney has lasted as far as it can last you. How did they prepare you to go back on dialysis?
It was actually much more traumatic than that for me because um, I actually got too comfortable after my transplant. I went back to work and I was driving semi trucks from Anaheim to San Diego back and forth. I was working for WIC, Women, Infant, Children. It's a
Okay.
government. Right. So I would deliver the
Right.
big pallets and then take everything off. And here I am. I only weigh maybe 160, and I'm moving these huge pallets every day. And I did that for years, and I just got too comfortable. I started eating fast food, because you're on the road all the time, and
Uh-huh.
you take too much salt and too much potassium, and basically, I think I probably could have gotten another year or two out of my kidneys if I didn't go back to work because
Okay.
trying to be responsible and bring in money and not live off Social Security actually backfired on me because I pushed myself too hard. And the one day I ate two sandwiches from Jack in the Box and my feet
Uh-huh.
swelled up huge. And I realized, wow, I have to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital and they said, we're sorry, your kidneys failed. So
Wow.
like that, it was just boom.
Wow. So
So
that
the
must
next
have been,
day I was back on dialysis.
wow. How intense was that? I mean, that sounds like it must have been just kind of an instant sort of, flip.
Yeah, it was hard because touring in a metal band, and at that time I was not in Taipan, I was in Black Oil, and we were at a pretty large scale. We were direct support for bands like Arch Enemy and Soulfly, and we were touring with them, and we were playing out with in other countries and stuff like that. And then so boom, that stopped that real quick.
Wow. Man, so yeah, you had to go back on dialysis. Was it when that happened? Were they able to still use like a fistula that you had previously, or
No, they put a catheter in my chest. I've had 10 different catheters on between this side and this side and this side and this side. Those ones, the temporary catheters before they put in the arm
right?
fistula. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so
Okay.
because once they do the surgery and put the fistula in your arm, it has to mature at least a month before they can start to use it.
Gotcha. Okay. And so went back to dialysis and had to kind of put, and you were taking a break from what you were doing?
I attempted to keep active, and when I started back on dialysis, I went training for home hemo, and
Okay.
I actually qualified for home hemo within like 2.5 weeks because I was so good at cannulating my own
Wow.
fistula, and
Very
running
nice.
the machine was so easy because I was a computer tech, and that's what I got a associate's degree in college, was a computer tech and engineering. So for me to program the little home hemo machine was silly.
Yeah.
It was so easy to learn. I learned it in like 2 days, and so I actually didn't even have a home nurse or anything. I did everything by myself.
Oh, very cool. So what
Yeah.
what was it who taught you how to do that? Were you able to like get go through
Unit.
training from next stage, or
Yes, there's a program. You can ask your social worker about it at the dialysis unit, and there are special dialysis units with people training you to do that, and then they sign you off when you qualify, and then they help you transfer everything to Medi-Cal and Medicare, whatever your insurance is, to where all the equipment comes to your house, because
right?
the home hemo machine is like 3 to 4 boxes of medical equipment per use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. I took that machine with me to Mexico City when we played with Rammstein, and that was tough. That was tough dragging that thing through the airport
Oh,
and trying
wow.
to a box full of needles and tubes. Yeah, it was tough. The security guard even wasn't sure what my fistula was. He never even heard the word fistula.
Are you kidding me?
He grabbed hold of that thing like it was a weapon.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because they were frisking you. He got to the part of my shirt where he felt something under. He grabbed me. What's this?
So he thought you were like you had something embedded in there or something.
And he looks at me and he goes, "What's a fistula?" And I said, You want to see that?" And I pulled my shirt back, and he jumped back and he goes, "Whoa, what's wrong with your arm?" And that's a fistula.
Yeah.
You'd think these security guards would know this by now.
You think so? With as many people going through the airport, right?
Right. Mine's pretty hideous, so it's a lot bigger than most people's because it's matured. And the thing is that me singing in a death metal band, I use extremely aggressive vocals, and my blood pressure goes super high. So my fistula looks like this, like Toxic Avenger.
Oh, wow. So how does does it when you're performing, does that stand out with the light or anything, or how do people view that?
Trip on it, but I don't even worry about it because I'm up there singing metal. What do they expect? They expect me to be pretty?
Right.
It's not going to happen. So even like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, Stonehenge, we went and played in Europe just like a few months ago. Boy, that was extremely Traumatic. Don't try to do dialysis in Europe, man. That's crazy stuff over there.
Oh wow, yeah. I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit because you know what, when we tried to hook up before with this interview, and then we had to reschedule. You had gone to Europe and were touring, and uh, I saw some of your posts, and
Yeah,
I
right.
couldn't believe the looks or the appearance of some of the dialysis centers over there.
Well, yeah. There's some interesting places where they have to keep the doors closed to keep the bugs from getting into the rooms.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, yeah, it was
What?
interesting, man. If you ask my band, now they know what a hostel is, and they don't ever
Oh wow.
stay there again. They
So
were so scared.
I mean, did you feel like it was sterile and clean when you went in, or
Well,
how?
here's the thing: is that there's dialysis centers, and then there's the hospitals, and then there's the public hospitals, and then there's the private hospitals. The private
Okay,
hospitals were super sparkly clean everywhere you went. London, Paris, Spain.
okay.
Hospitals were real bad. The only problem was is that the private hospitals wouldn't take my insurance, and they wanted $1,300 for one session.
Wow, are you kidding me? For one session?
One session, and I was in a bind at one point, and I had to
Yeah.
do it. I couldn't find any other hospital, and I had to drop $1,300 on one session.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
my insurance wouldn't cover, so I took 4 grand over there just to cover
Yeah.
my dialysis because I was
Uh
supposed to
huh.
have 10 sessions in 30 days while we were there.
Yeah.
But my band, while we were in Spain, we got robbed. They came up and
Oh.
they smashed the windows of the van, and they took our passports, they took our wallets, they took our clothes. We spent 2 weeks in swim trunks. We
What?
had no money, no passports, nothing, nothing. So we missed our flights, and we weren't able to get to Amsterdam. So we drove 25 hours. We went to Barcelona, and we went to the place just specifically for getting a passport emergency that day, and
Okay.
we spent like $500 getting passports done for that day so that we could get to the next show. But
Wow.
now remember
Wow.
robbed, so now I have no more money. I have no credit cards, no ID, nothing. So now when I try to go to get dialysis, they won't take me. They won't
Oh
even
my gosh.
let me sign papers promising to pay or check my anything. I had no way to prove my ID, and I had no money. I had no credit cards, nothing anymore.
Wow.
It
That sounds
week of,
extremely difficult to overcome.
yeah, I missed a week of dialysis, and by the time we got back to the U.S., I was in super bad shape, and
Yeah.
I was super swollen, and I ended up having to go to the emergency, and I don't know what happened because I blacked out and I woke up 5 days later.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was in a coma for like 4 or 5 days, and every single day I was in the coma, they did dialysis and took like 5 to 6 pounds off of me each day.
Wow. So you
Took,
don't
took
remember
4
when
pounds of
what was
water out.
what was your memory of arriving back in the United States? I mean, at what point do you remember
Uh,
still being conscious
Coughing up
or
a lot of blood. I was just
wow.
coughing up blood, and I could barely made it on the airplane, man. I could barely breathe because my lungs were all full of fluid.
Yeah. All the toxins and everything, right? I mean, it's just
Real bad. It was real bad.
wow.
I couldn't believe when they wouldn't take me in London, even when I told them it was an emergency, and they said, "Sorry, it's a private hospital. For us even to see you, to speak to you, you need to pay $400."
Oh my gosh.
400 euros. which was
Yeah.
that's like $500.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just,
forget we were working with euros, so everything that was 1,300 euros, my friend. So
oh
that
my
actually
gosh.
was more than $1,500.
Oh boy. Wow.
Yeah,
Th-
it was a crazy trip, but I
That is,
survived back here,
yeah.
and now I'm taking a break, and I'm just concentrating on trying to get the transplant and worrying about that because that was just too close to death for me.
Right. I can only imagine, bro. I mean, wow. I mean that that sounds like quite an experience, an adventure, all in itself. But um, after having had that happen, um, what what have you? How have you used that to kind of become stronger, become better, and to use that to your advantage? Because it was such a difficult, thing to go through.
Right. Well, let's see if you can accept this twist. I went from singing a death metal band to writing children's books.
I
I
saw
just
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw
I just
that.
published my third, and basically I'm slowing down,
Uh
resting.
huh.
I'm still recording. We're finishing our third album now. We're gonna, even if we can't perform a lot, we still are gonna go do a few select festivals.
Okay. All right.
Can't stop having fun just because you're
No.
on dialysis, you know.
Yeah, you got to do you, right? You got to do you. But man,
Yeah.
writing books, that's inspiring. Let's talk about that. What's tell us the name of the children's book that you wrote. Because I think it's something that we ought to bring up so we can kind of promote that a little bit because I think it's awesome.
I appreciate that. So basically, we just finished the third book. I have a side company, Dead Sea Publishing, because I've written an autobiography, which is on Amazon, and I also wrote a book called Indie 101 to help bands be more professional.
Uh
That's
huh.
on Amazon. But the children's book is very special for me. There's one we just did called Morgan Gets an Organ, and it's about a little blue monster who gets a kidney transplant and receives the kidney from the little boy. He lives in the room with him. He lives
Uh
under his
huh.
bed.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just a nice little story, and it basically to show kids that everybody gets sick, and
Yeah.
that maybe if they are on dialysis or need a transplant, then they can associate with this little monster a little bit.
All right. That's a great correlation. Try
Thank
to
you.
make it,
That's
yeah,
on
try to
Amazon.
make it less scary, right?
No, no, it's all. I tried to be as friendly as possible, but of course there is a picture of Morgan on a dialysis machine, but it's all
Yeah.
colorful, you know. And there's
Right.
pictures of Morgan basically looking like he doesn't feel so good. He was fine at one point, and then he started slowing down, and so they take him to the doctor, and the doctor explains that he needs a new kidney, and then
That's awesome.
gets that from the little boy that he
Yeah.
played.
No, I mean, kudos to you. Seriously, I applaud you because that's adding to education. It's bringing more awareness into kids at a younger age, so they're learning more about it. Because you know, uh, it's not scaring them. Because you're bringing dialysis into a children's book and it makes them look sick, but obviously it's not going to be something that's going to scare them, but it's also introducing them and educating them at a great level, and it's giving them some much needed awareness at a young age and in a children's book. I think that's great.
Thank you, man. That's the nice thing is that we're keeping on those topics. We've got
Yeah.
another one about a little boy who's got cancer, and he actually starts a rock band called the Chemo Kids.
Okay, that's very cool. The
So
chemo
it's this
kids.
kind
I
of
love
stuff
it.
where maybe a little bald boy who feels all alone sees this book and realizes, oh wow, so you can be in a rock band and you can still go out and have fun and do stuff even when you're sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally depicts and illustrates that even people that are sick can do great things and do, accomplish things. That's really cool.
Point exactly to the story. And then
Yeah.
we've got even one called Sully the Bully, which is kind of a sadder story, but it explains to other kids why a kid is a bully.
Okay. All
So
right.
it shows that he gets abused at home, and then he needs to take that anger out, and he goes and he hits his friends and his schoolmates at school. So it's basically a book for the parents and the kids who are trying to understand why this bully is doing this. And it's basically pay more attention and go check what's going on in the home with the parents because something's wrong.
Okay. Right on. I love that. So where did you where what drew some of your inspiration for these books?
Just life experiences and dealing with being disabled since I was 10. I didn't get
Right.
to physical education with the other kids. I was the nerd that had to sit in the coach's room and write a report about soccer because I couldn't play. At 10
Yeah.
years old, I was too weak. And when I would try to play, I would get sick and fall down. And of course, the kids thought that was 10-year-old kids are going to think that's funny. And I've been
Right.
wearing glasses since I was 6 months old. So I was born a nerd.
You were cool. You were a cool nerd before nerds were cool, right?
Yeah, I guess you would call it a cool nerd. Thanks, man. I just think I'm a nerd, but if you want to call me a cool nerd, I think of
Yeah,
myself as a tattooed nerd.
that's right. Right on. Right on. So man, the children's books, I'm digging that. It's awesome. Man, I just see that you are very innovative. You're kind of an entrepreneur that way. I mean, you
Just try to do whatever I can to leave some sort of legacy before I pass, because who knows when that's going to happen. It could be
mhm.
when you're sick. I've had open heart surgery. I've had spinal surgery. I've had too many surgeries to even count because when you're born with kidney failure, it's like a car without an oil filter. It's not far before everything else starts to break down.
Yeah. Wow, very interesting. It's a great analogy. I like that. You you're not quite sure, and you try to maintain it the best you can, right?
Yeah, trust me, man. I've made some huge mistakes and I've done some bad stuff. But I cleaned myself up and I try to do as good as I can now because you really can't change the past.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to check it out, I have a book. It's called Dead Sea, A True Story. It's on Amazon. It's my autobiography. And first page starts with my roommate in California
Uh
trying to
huh.
blow up a police station with a rocket launcher.
No way, really?
Yes, and you can even look the court hearing up on YouTube and
Oh
see
wow.
him on the stage. His name's Nicholas Smith, and
Uh huh.
there's a lot in that book you'll find out about me that I really would rather not say.
Okay. All right, but you
You,
have
you
that
know that
information
scene
in
in
there.
Christmas Vacation when the police raid the house and they come in down the roof and
Uh huh.
let's say I've had that happen to my house.
Oh man. Oh wow. Okay. That's
Yeah. But here I am, I'm alive and I'm clean and I'm good and I've
yeah.
got kids and I sing in bands and I try to only write about important stuff. All our stuff is political or about saving the earth or something. It's not like eating babies metal.
Yeah, meaningful things. I like that. Cool. And Dead Sea Records, that's the
Yeah.
label. And then you've got your own publishing company too. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, but it's really not expensive to start your own little companies. You know what I mean? It's like $200 or something
All
to
right,
send in
all
all the
right.
paperwork and get everything set up right. So
Okay.
so they had a special and they said like I could do four companies at once if I wanted. So I
Hmm.
went ahead and started. I have a custom lighter company. I wrap lighters for bands, and it's got their band on the lighter, And
Oh
so
wow.
bands that have bought those and they sell those. I've got a bunch of little side companies that I use. I even have a company that I make my own lemonade.
Oh wow. That's cool.
It's called the Dead Sea Drink, and
Dead Sea Dream.
I'm pretty damn good at making lemonade. So
That is so cool. So is it like in a can? Like you would buy like like
it's in a bottle. It's in a bottle
oh, it's in a
that's shaped
bottle.
like a
Okay.
skull.
Uh-huh.
It's
And
a
then
bottle that's shaped like a skull.
okay. And can you buy that online or do you buy that just in and around where you live or how does one buy that?
Well, basically, we have just a Facebook, and you would just order it through me, and I can ship it to you. I try to keep it local because we
Uh-huh.
want to bring it to the people fresh.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
so
Okay.
the few times that we've done stuff with it has usually been like parties,
All right,
stuff
all
like
right. Very cool.
yeah.
All
We
right.
host parties and we'll have the table with all the skull drinks, and people really enjoy that.
Okay. All right. So man, it's you're very versatile. You're very versatile. I like that. You're kind of the
This is what
Scotty
happens when
Pippen
you
of
get sick and you can't work. You have to find all the different ways to survive because you've got to buy presents for the kids for
uh-huh.
Christmas and all this stuff. And $850 a month, Social Security doesn't cover it when your
It's not
rent.
going to cut it. Gotcha. That
So
makes sense. Sure.
it
No,
leaves you 50
man.
to survive, and that's not going to work. It
No, it
cost me 50
doesn't.
just to drive to California.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's
So
things add up, especially in California, man. I know that much. So let me ask you. I'm really intrigued about. So again, I want to applaud you before I go to your music again, but I want to applaud you because I'm a big sports fan. So I kind of look at you as somebody who's, started out like as maybe playing one position, like maybe a point guard or shooting guard. And then because of an injury, you had to learn how to play small forward, and then you had to learn another position. And all of a sudden you're playing like three or four different positions, athletically. And I just think that's very creative. And then maybe that stems from your childhood, like you said, because you were the guy, who had to, be on the outside looking in, and maybe that's where your creativity stems from. I'm not sure, but I just find that your mind is very creative to be able to do all these things. Very, very multifaceted, brother.
thank you, man. I when I was young, I was always drawing or writing poetry or something, and I just had to figure out how to translate that into something more productive as an
Okay.
adult. Because we all know artists make no money. So
Yeah, actors kind of go into the same thing. I wanted to become an actor growing up, and I slowly had to go a different direction myself. But I'd like to talk a little bit about your time as a musician. So besides Taipan, you were in Black Oil, and then of course you just mentioned that you also do your cover band called uh, Michael and the
heart attacks, yeah.
that's right, Michael and the Heart Attacks. I like that. Okay, and then there was Stone Faced. Can you tell me a little bit about Black Oil and Stone Faced?
Sure, sure. Basically, Stonefaced is just an industrial project that I've done for about 10 years.
Uh
And I have like 7 albums that I don't want anyone to ever hear. You
huh.
know, I've
Okay.
got one or two songs that are on YouTube, and those
Uh
songs
huh.
I'm happy with. But the rest
Okay.
of it is just your basic, like Nine Inch Nails kind of industrial stuff. It's how I learned how to make music.
Okay. All right.
So,
Um,
growing up with industrial, I'm a Ministry fan, and that's why
very
I
cool.
both the drummer and the bassist from Ministry in our music.
I was just gonna say that I saw that Aaron Rossi is listed in
Mhm.
your as artist.
And Tony
Wow.
Campbell, my favorite bassist in the whole world. He plays all the bass on the first Taipan album, and then he plays a few songs on the second Taipan album.
Okay. Wow. And
I love to do that.
Chris
That's
Pollard.
one thing
And Chris
everybody hates that
Pollard.
I love to put guests on songs
Yeah.
because why not? Why do I want to hear my friends play on my album when I hear them play live all the time?
Yeah.
This song to be epic, because it's going to be the one time that you get to record it, you know?
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
that's why I've gotten Chris Poland from Megadeth. I've got Mike Albert from Megadeth on different songs. Jack Gibson from Exodus. Uh, got members of Warbringer. Got members of all several different bands, you know, that I've admired over the years. And I just basically contact the members on Facebook and I show them what my band's done, and
Okay.
that legitimate musician and that we've played with, you know, Kiss and bands like that. And as soon as they see that, they realize that I'm not messing around.
Okay. Right
No,
on. So
and I'm
you
not asking for a favor. I come at them and I say, I know you're an independent musician, an independent contractor, so whatever your fee, professional fee is to have you on this song, I'm happy to cover it, because then I'm going to have this epic song that's going to be along here a lot longer than I will be.
okay, all right. That makes sense. So, you're willing to pay that because it's going to make your song a better quality, a higher quality song. Is that what you
Yes,
mean? Yeah.
exactly. We've got one song. It's called "White Fog of Bhopal." It's about the explosion in Bhopal, India, in 1984, when like 22,000 people died in one night, and nobody knows about it. It was never reported on the news or anything. So basically, we made a animated video, and in the video, Aaron Rossi's in the video, Tony Campos is in the video,
Hmm.
Chris Poland from Megadeth is in the video. That's not cheap. Not only to
Oh,
make
I can imagine it.
these guys in the video and have
Uh-huh.
them. That one song cost me $5,000,
Wow. That's a
but
pretty
it doesn't
penny.
matter because what else? Some people want to spend $5,000 on chrome on their car and make it look nice. I'll spend $5,000 on a song and put chrome on it to make it sound nice, and for me to always be proud of it.
Polish that up. I like that. Yeah. Instead of polishing up and making something chrome on a car, you're polishing up and making it all look pretty with a song. So man, I can see that.
Thanks, man. It's how I try to explain to bands. Do they want it to just live their lives at bars, or do they want to go play festivals? They have to get a good image and a professional image. And so their band is their hobby. Somebody has a motorcycle, that's their hobby.
Yeah.
They make the motorcycle as nice as it can be so it can get on the cover of a magazine. Why wouldn't you make the image of your band as nice as it can be and the logo so that you can get on the cover of a music magazine? Same concept.
Same concept. Wow. Yeah. That is profound, though. I mean, how do you envision yourself, and do you envision something just being like a hobby, or what do you want to make out of it? And how do you?
Right, right.
Yeah, I like that.
I've decided that Taipan is a business. It's I've explained to a lot of people that the people in the band with me, they're my friends, but they're not my friends. You know, they're not these people. We work well together and we're very polite and everybody's nice to each other. But in the end of the day, we're business associates. We're
Okay.
not friends, because friend bands break up.
That's a
Business
good
associates
point.
last forever.
Yeah.
Always replace a business associate. Walmart, if somebody's sick, they don't close for the day. They call
Yeah.
another employee in.
Uh-huh.
Why, if a bassist is sick in a band, should that band have to cancel? No, there should be another bassist at bay ready to play.
That's a great point. That's a very good point, because that would almost handicap you if you only use that one person and that person does get sick. Then all of a sudden you can't go. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 4 bassists that know our music if I need 5. I've got people in other countries that know Taipan music, and we can
Uh-huh.
go there with only a couple members and use the guitarists there in South America,
Oh,
Mexico,
wow.
Caribbean. We've played at the Wacken Caribbean, and the bassist that played with us was
Uh-huh.
was the boss of the Wacken Caribbean.
Wow, really?
How you get it done?
That's how you get it done. That's awesome.
Yeah, I said, so how can we play this? And
Uh-huh.
he said, well, can I play with you guys? And I said, hey, you're playing with us. Okay, learn this stuff, and we'll come out a few days early, and we'll practice with you. And then, man, it was awesome.
Wow, that is pretty cool. That is really cool. I dig that, man. So, and then you keep in touch with these people, right? I mean, you
Yes, of
connect with
course,
them,
of
and
course,
yeah,
of course. Because they become friends. Even if they're still business associates, they become friends over time.
yeah, very very cool. So you've got Taipan, you've got that going on, man. Um,
Yeah,
how?
real prototype band. It's only 5 years this band has been alive. 5 years, which
Yeah,
is
I
a
was
long
just gonna
time.
say, what
And
was
we
it?
played with
Was it
Slipknot,
2000? Was it
Slayer.
2015 that you started, or what? When did you start Taipan?
In October of 2015. No, 14. The very
14.
end.
Okay.
So our first shows were at the beginning of 2015, and
Okay.
what it was is I used my business sense to make us climb much quicker. Instead of just waiting for bar shows, I would go rent the Whiskey a Go Go, find out how much it
Hmm.
cost, rent it, put us as headliners. How easy is that? There you go. So now you've got two or three flyers with you
Okay.
headlining these awesome places. And basically, if I rent the whiskey, they give me hundreds of tickets, and I go find bands to sell those tickets, and I recuperate my losses of the couple grand I spent on the rent. And then we're playing for free at a world famous place.
Wow.
It's all just business.
It is business. How did you learn some of these methods or these techniques? That is
Well, but
it.
that's taking business classes before I was a musician. You have
Yeah.
to keep in mind, I'm not a musician at heart.
Yeah.
I went to school as an entomology herpetology major, insects and reptiles. Then I switched over to computers and I got an associate's degree in computer technology. Got my transplant, went and tried to get a job, and no one would hire me because I had a pre existing condition.
Right.
So after years of looking for a stable job with my associate's degree that I went to college for all those years, was a pure failure. So that's when I decided, okay, if I only have so much time to live and I want to enjoy my life, do I want to sit behind computers and be sad all day, or do I want to rock some stages? So I decided to rock some stages, and I started the label, and I jumped into the band Black Oil. They were already an established band, and they needed a new singer. So when I joined, we were right away playing big shows in Mexico City for 10, 20,000 people.
Wow. Really? So
Yes,
they
yeah.
were.
If you go on YouTube and you look up Black Oil, you're
Uh-huh.
going to see us playing for 30,000 people, and it's some of our first shows.
30,000 people?
Yeah, we've
That,
played with some crazy bands. When I think back on the bands like Kiss and bands like that
yeah.
that we played with, Slipknot, we won
Uh-huh.
a competition as the best band, and we got to play with Anthrax and Slayer and Slipknot.
Wow. How
Yeah,
was that? I mean, how cool is that?
metal. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. We had capoeira dancers on stage fighting while we played. We had the Brazilian girls with the huge tops, the feather tops and everything dancing on stage. We had like 12 member samba group with us on stage. And then this is death metal with all this added to it.
Wow. That sounds like quite a show.
Yeah, it's Brazilian metal is very nice. I love it. There's great bands. There's a band called Claustrophobia, Sepultura, bands like that, Soulfly, all these kind of bands. We've played with all these bands.
Soulfly. I am familiar with Soulfly a little bit. Sure. Okay.
Oh man, come on. That's Max Cavalera, the singer from Sepultura. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're he's the Ozzy Osbourne of tribal metal.
Uh-huh. That is so cool. Wow. So, man, to think that you've played with these guys and members from Ministry and Megadeth. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. We played with Incubus. We played with Deftones. Man, you name it. We've played with Twisted Sister. We played with
Twisted
Scorpion.
Sister.
Yeah, yeah, you name it. We played with Anvil. It doesn't matter. If the band
Yeah.
is big, you go play with them because
Uh-huh.
we play with Alien Ant Farm. Because you get their crowd.
Yeah.
You can't expect to have 10,000 fans, but when you find a band that has 10,000 fans and you play right before them, you now have 10,000 fans.
Because they're gonna listen to your music. Wow. Yeah.
And then the minute you jump off stage, they're going to buy every piece of merch you have.
Uh-huh.
I've had my
Wow.
earrings ripped right out of my ears, man. They go
What?
crazy.
What?
Yeah.
They wanted your earrings and everything?
Look up our concert in Hermosillo. You'll see they
Uh-huh.
broke the glass doors down to get into the show.
That's nuts. That is so crazy, man. So these fans just go crazy like that. I mean, all
That's
the
Mexico, South America,
uh-huh.
all type areas are super passionate about metal. Super
Yeah,
passionate. Here in
super
Holland.
fast. Wow, that's pretty cool. So in the time that that you do like go to these different areas like that, like South America or Mexico or whatnot, um, I mean, where do you guys eat and what kind of food do you like to eat when you go to these places?
I'm not having any fun. Keep in mind, I'm doing dialysis. I'm
Uh-huh.
the other day looking for the next, Mexico City. It's just to get from the hotel that we're staying into the dialysis center one way is like 2 hours,
All
and then
right,
2 hours
right.
because the
Okay.
traffic in Mexico City is like the worst in the world, and we're
Uh-huh.
only talking 2 or 3 miles away.
So your
But it
mindset's totally different. I mean, you're thinking, okay, how do I get to the next spot just to make sure I can dialyze?
And then yeah, like when I was in the Caribbean, here where everybody's going off on boats and everything, and I'm walking through the jungle looking for the dialysis center.
Okay. That's your top priority. It's
In the middle of the jungle, separated the leaves, and there was a Davita center there. I had
no way. Come on. Come on.
like zebras walking by.
No way. Are you kidding me?
No, not zebras, but there were monkeys
Uh-huh.
and like
You
gorillas and stuff like that out there on the
you
in the Caribbean.
come on, man. You're telling me that you found a Davita in the jungle?
Yes,
Come on.
middle of the jungle, man. It was crazy. And then they tried to shaft me on the price. They told me it was $100, and then when I got there, they wanted 400, or they weren't going to do it. So I told them I was leaving, and they chased me down and pulled me back and told me, okay, they'll just do a half a session.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And then they forgot and they ran the whole 4 hours.
Really? They just
Yeah,
forgot you.
yeah. And I'm Jewish, so I'm not going to tell them.
So how do you know a little
I was like, yes.
so did you communicate? Do you speak Spanish at all or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Portuguese
did
and
perfect Spanish because my ex-wife doesn't speak English, and so I there was only Spanish in the house, and my kids speak
okay.
Spanish, and so that's one of the other reasons it's a lot easier for me as
Mhm.
somebody who an American who also speaks Spanish to be able to contact these promoters in Mexico when I see a big show. And I go, oh, hey, we'll come down there and play that. We won't even charge you. Just get us hotels and get us back line when we get there, so we don't have to bring anything but our guitars. And half the time they say okay. And next thing I know, we're opening for some huge band, Rammstein. That's how that happened. I just
Wow.
contacted the manager of the festival, and I said, hey man, we'll cover our own expenses. Just put us on a good stage, man. We played at 5:30 across from Mushroom Head and a band called Voivod from Canada, and I
Oh
mean
wow.
it was cool. It was like 40,000 people there,
40,000 people. Man, that's stacked. That's like a
and
seriously like a college
that's
football
during
stadium.
the day. And we played at
Yeah.
5:30. Yeah, by
Uh-huh.
the time it was probably about 70,000 people.
Yeah, 70,000 people.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Wow. How loud can it get? I mean, with that many people and when you're performing, how does that affect, like, you know, how do you concentrate on your music if you have that many fans, like
Well,
screaming and
the whole
yelling?
time I'm singing, I'm more concerned about my heart exploding again. So I take my glasses off and I zone out. I keep my eyes closed the whole set. I never look at the audience. I
Okay.
mean, sometimes I'll jump into off the stage or something like that, or onto a
Uh-huh.
speaker or something, or onto the drum set. But 90% of the time, I've got my eyes closed or my glasses off, and I don't want to know what's going on. I just want
Okay.
to my timing because our songs are very difficult. Uh, Death metal, especially tech death, is very fast and it stops, and you gotta. The people may not know what I'm saying and may not care if I'm making mistakes, but we care on stage if we're making mistakes.
Okay. All right. And
So we try to spend time.
what happens when you catch, like, I don't know, a band member that's made a mistake? I mean, is it just a little bit of a joke, or do you call the person out afterwards after the show, or
Yeah. There's nothing on stage. You never do that on stage. You never make I made a mistake face. The ooh. You just don't do that. If
yeah.
you make a mistake, then you look like yeah. You look like even because I miss words. If I'm jumping off the stage, a lot of times I don't have a microphone in my hand, so I'll miss a whole line, and I
Yeah.
gotta climb back on that stage somehow after jumping off.
And
And
not skip
so
a beat.
live performances don't need to be perfect. It's the music on CD that needs to be perfect. The live performance is, as Kiss proves, it all is just about the show, not the
Oh,
music.
okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I
It's
I
about
can see that.
flash,
Yeah,
explosions, and the makeup,
having
and
fun.
you know,
Oh,
yeah, having
wow.
fun. Look like you're
Yeah.
having fun. That's that they want to see that. If you look bored on stage, they get bored with you.
Wow, very cool. So, and with the how did you start with the tattoos, Michael? Because I mean, you're well tatted, and I
If
mean,
I
did you?
told you, you would be okay, because you're gonna laugh. People I've got a lot of tattoos. I probably
Yeah.
got, I don't know, somewhere around 40 tattoos.
Uh-huh.
I got tattoos because when I started as a vocalist, I had no tattoos, and I would try to get on stage, and people wouldn't even move out of my way. They would think I was like the tech, or they didn't think I was the death metal singer.
All right, so
And
you
so,
weren't taken seriously.
so when you're an employee at a store, everyone looks for the person wearing the employee's outfit so they know you're working there. So I said
Yeah.
to myself, is that you're supposed to do? And I looked and I saw that the front men, the best front men, were just sleeve tatted down. So within like a year, I went and got my entire body tattooed: my stomach, my chest, my arms, my legs, my neck, all that stuff, all within maybe 2 years.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
was the outfit of a singer, and people move out of my way.
they they see you and they know that you're in the band. Okay.
They know I'm in the band, and they know I'm the singer. I'm the dude with all the tattoos and the bald head,
Uh-huh.
and they give me the microphone now.
Oh, wow. I'm telling you, your creativity, man. I love it.
So really, I didn't like tattoos. I thought they were pretty trashy. And then I started getting them and started realizing that if you get the right tattoos and you send the right messages, none of my tattoos are violent. My right arm is all Disney. It's from Fantasia. And my
Okay.
left arm is all Greek mythology, all the stuff that goes under my arm. And on my chest, I have like some tigers fighting because I'm a year of the tiger, stuff like that. So I kept it to the basic concepts, nothing like, monsters eating babies kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. Or anything that maybe could be misconstrued. Okay.
Correct, correct, especially with my whiteness and my baldness. But see,
Yeah.
I'm Jewish, so no, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I've been in the dark of night walking down the street and had a couple guys walk up to me and "What up, Wood?" And I just kept walking.
You're kidding me.
That means
They,
that's in California, a wood is white power.
right. So they thought that just because were
I get
bald
I get accused a
and
lot. I just speak to them in Spanish real quick, and they realize that I'm not. Porque yo
oh my
hablo
gosh.
español muy bien por un güero.
they does that generally just almost instantly set them off?
Yes, yes, yes. Because I do unfortunately have the blue eyes and the no hair and the beard and the can't do anything about being white. That's my
No.
problem.
No, there's not. But you do send a message, and you're doing it in a way that, again, like with when you chose the tattoos, it sounds like you chose them for a certain reason, and you have anything that I've heard you do or say that you've done. It sounds like you put a lot of thought, and I like that. Is that everything that you've done, it's kind of analytical and it's well thought out. So
Thank you.
is that
Analytical. I don't know what else analytical for sure. I'm OCD with that.
okay? All right, okay. And that's a good thing because people that are kind of geared that way, they're generally very organized. So a lot of people that I know that are OCD, even though that can be something they have to kind of deal with, it can make them a very organized person, so that you can, in many cases, that's probably worked to your advantage, business wise. That's pretty cool.
That's what it is. It helps me keep my business mind. Even
Yeah,
though in the age of computers, I'm still a pen and paper guy, and I
yeah.
write at the top what I do today, and I write,
Hmm.
and then as I drive my car and I do my stuff during the day, I cross each one out.
Okay. So
And
it's
if I
you've
don't
got
accomplish everything during that day, then I transfer those things to the next list for the next day.
very cool. All right, right on. So you've got like an agenda on paper. You've got like tasks and different things, and it's more like
Correct.
the old school daily planners that that maybe made a lot of business people successful before the digital age kind of exploded, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just number one, go to post office. Number two, buy Star Wars toy. Number three, return VHS tape from 10 years ago. Just whatever.
I love that. Yeah, very cool. So I've heard you reference Disney a couple times. So, is was Disney a part of you, growing up? And if so, were you a Star Wars fan or more of a, what were some things that kind of inspired you, other than Disney Fantasia that you've already mentioned?
Well, let's just say I went to the store to buy my son's toys today, and I came out with more for myself, and they were Star Wars.
Okay,
So
very cool.
I'll buy him those tomorrow. But yeah,
Yeah.
uh, I bought a Tie Fighter and an X-wing. It's like a 4 foot long X-wing.
Oh, very cool. That is super dope.
Yeah, it makes all the noises and everything. You can hang it
Yeah.
from your seat. It's crazy. And have you seen that Disneyland just introduced two SUV-sized X-wing fighter drones that fly?
I've heard that. Yeah, I had somebody go to Disneyland just recently, and they told me about that. That is
Yes, these things are
that
the
is gotta
size of
be.
cars, man.
Uh huh.
They have landing pads and everything, and they look like X-wing fighters.
Wow. Like
We're
totally
getting there.
something that would
Almost to
come
Star
straight out
Wars.
of the movie. Yeah.
And if you even look, the military is starting to make new headgear, and they look like an imperial stormtrooper.
Wow.
Yeah, man, the world is Star Wars obsessed, and I saw Star Wars in 1978 at the drive-in theater.
Drive-in theater, right on. Yeah, we still
Years
have.
old. I still remember sitting in the car in like a 1958 Edsel, sitting and
Okay,
watching.
that's a classic. That's a classic. Vintage. Yeah. That is vintage. Yeah, I saw
So
Star Wars probably about the same time when I was a kid, and I it's I'm a big sci-fi guy. I am. I love sci-fi, and Star Wars meant more to me than Star Trek, but I still like Star Trek. But Star Wars was really, in my mind, just a lot more, strategic. Whereas Star Trek was really slow moving because they were always just like
Dramatic.
on the deck of their ship, their starship,
Yeah,
and
it was overly played. The Star Wars was more a little more realistic, and then
right.
I was the Land of the Lost fan.
Okay, all right.
I like Marshall Will and Holly.
Uh-huh. That's a classic. That
That
is
was
a
my
good
thing. I
one.
don't know.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that, bro. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
watching that as a kid. I'd get up at early in the morning on Saturday mornings and watch that.
all the Sid and Marty Krofft shows. Those were
Yeah.
my big thing, and I loved the Brady Bunch.
Uh-huh.
I was a nerd.
Okay. Well,
I'm
uh, you
happy
know,
to be.
I'm
I'm
I'm a
happy
big
when I'm excited
that
to see a Star Wars toy.
no, that's cool though because I'm a big little kid. All right, I'm a little kid at heart. I am, and I love sci-fi. I also like superhero movies, so I'm big into the Marvel and DC. Grew up on comic books.
Those are
And
cool. They get a bit complicated and confusing for me, and
yeah,
especially with my business schedule. An hour and
uh
a half
huh,
to 2 hours is a long time to dedicate myself to something. I'm more of like a 15, 20 minutes of watching, the murder shows and who killed who. I like the investigations. I like when they get the guy in the room and they grill him until he admits he killed somebody. Those are nice and quick shows for me because I
all
have to
right,
work. I've got a
yeah,
lot of. I do
get
tours for bands, and that takes up so much time to schedule tours and to contact the venues and then
hmm
contact local bars or excuse me, local bands to get on the show and then make the flyer and the schedule. Man, that takes
man,
hours and
you're
hours a day.
you're going and going and going. It sounds like you just burned the midnight oil, brother.
Well, yeah, but the thing is with kidney failure, I don't sleep. This
Yeah.
is the problem. Is that
Okay.
I work until my eyes burn, and then I
Uh-huh.
lay down and I sleep for like 2 or 3 hours, and then I wake up, I pop up, and I don't know why. It's just my whole life with kidney failure. I just don't
Yeah.
sleep more than 2 or 3 hours, and then I get up and I do a few things, and I watch some TV, and I eat something, and then I go back to sleep for a few hours, and
Uh-huh.
that's why I always
Yeah.
look so tired.
Okay. Well, a lot of kidney warriors have problems with insomnia, and they have
Mhm.
problems sleeping.
Turning. I'd rather not toss and turn. I'm only willing to toss and turn for about 3 minutes before I get back up and get my computer.
Okay. All right. And then you decide that you're just going to do something else at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the other day I was bored, so I made a festival. I made a 2 day show in Las Vegas and Bullhead City called Black Massacre, Mike Black. It's for my birthday, and so
Okay.
and then basically I just contacted two bars in Vegas and Bullhead City, and they let me use the place for free. And I found a headliner for the show. It's like a big band that costs a couple thousand, but then I'll sell tickets, and I'll have the local band sell tickets. So now starts the structure of the show and finding 7 or 8 bands for each show that are willing to sell tickets to play with this big band.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
business.
That
It's
is
business.
business. That's good business, man. And it sounds like in many ways that you've been able to do some of these things and build off some what works and what doesn't work and what's been
Right,
successful.
right. Well, it's all a matter of at least making enough to survive without taking
Hmm.
advantage of anybody, especially musicians. Because
Yeah.
me, as a musician, I know that we're all broke. So okay, like 6 months ago, my record label made a compilation. Most compilations on a CD can only hold 17 to 18 bands maximum. So I made what was called the Dead Sea Records Metal Six Pack. It's 6 CDs. There's 101 bands on this 6 CD compilation. Each CD is a different genre of metal, And so basically what I did to afford to do this was I told each band, put in like $20 and give me a song to put on the CD, and they'll get, 10 or 20 free CDs. And I did the math. I sit down and I do the math and I work out, okay, if I print out 5,000 CDs and I get 101 bands and they each get, 10, 20 CDs, and can I sell some of these? And I break even, or I make 100 or $200. Now I've made a compilation, the world's largest metal compilation, in fact.
Really? Wow.
It cost me a penny because
Yeah.
all hands put in $20. They got a couple CDs back for themselves. They got the
Hmm.
whole thing back. So they were able to show their friends that they're on now officially the world's largest physical metal compilation. There is no metal compilation that's bigger.
Wow. That's saying something, bro. I mean, that's something that that somebody can't take away from you right now. That's awesome.
Exactly. So if I die tomorrow, at least I've left the world's largest metal compilation. I've left
Yeah.
instructional guides for bands. I've left an autobiography so people can laugh about how stupid I was. All this kind of stuff I've left behind instead of just debt, which I'm leaving
Yeah.
behind. But
And children's books, which are very meaningful. I mean,
now
yeah.
I'm the most proud of, because just the Morgan Gets an Organ, we just
Hmm.
printed out like 100 copies. That's it, and we sold all 100 of them. And we everybody has written us and told us how much their kids like it, their sick kids, or they've donated it to a friend who's got a child on dialysis, and that child really loved it. That's all I wanted to know. That was worth it to me.
That is spectacular. So you're telling me that if someone wanted to buy that book, could they still buy it on Amazon, or are you totally out?
Yes, yes. Oh yeah. It's print now. It's on
Uh-huh.
there. Print on demand. So
Oh,
you
okay.
order one, they print one, and they send it to you.
Oh,
It's on
very cool.
Amazon. You just type in Morgan Gets an Organ, and it shows up there.
All right. Well, everybody go to the Amazon and buy one of those.
It's
Morgan.
only $6.99. Come on, man.
I know, right? That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it
so
costs
cool.
like $5 to print, and then
Yeah.
Amazon gets a buck and I get a buck. It's not much, but
It
I'm
isn't.
spreading the good
But
word. That's all that
that
matters to
that
me.
that is exactly it. Is it may not be much, okay, but that is meaningful because you're spreading awareness, and you're doing that in a children's book. So you're doing it for somebody who's actually learning. Kids absorb things. They learn at such a young age. You know, you if you teach them the right things, especially at a younger age, man, you're helping set up a better society, for the next generation.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm just inspired by the fact that I've known some pretty young people with kidney failure, younger than myself. And at one time I was 10 and wondering what the heck was going on, because
Okay.
imagine being that young and not being able to play, and every time you have to, go to the bathroom is a scary experience for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're wondering how much you're going to bleed.
Wow. And so some of these experiences, as you said, you're drawing from them to make the books and stuff, and this has kind of shaped you. This is your experiences from your childhood, your experiences as you were 20 and after your first transplant. This has made you who you are today. Mistakes, errors, whatever you've made or whatever you've done, that's made you who you are today. What's made you what is the the most instrumental thing, the best thing that you feel that you're putting your stamp on right now?
My kids.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a 23-year-old daughter and I've got a 6-year-old son. They're
All
both
right.
brilliant, brilliant little people. My daughter, she's almost 6 feet tall.
Oh,
It's
wow.
nice punishment,
Uh-huh.
and so she's beautiful. So yeah, those are my prized possessions, of course. The all the other stuff that I'm doing is trying to leave a mark so people remember me beyond my kids, because they won't know who I was through my kids, but when they read the children's books that I wrote, they'll start to understand, oh well, he was a nice guy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, man, I am so glad we did this, bro. You're class act. You really are. You're class act. You do things that are meaningful. You put a lot of thought into what you do, and whether it's your children's books, whether it's your lighters that you sell, your different businesses, your 4 businesses. I'm man, I'm very honored to have done this interview tonight. But
Thank you,
before
man.
we end this, if we have some people that have watched this and they feel like that they are healthy and they'd like to become a living kidney donor for you, how would they go about doing that for you, Michael?
Oh, that would be nice. Okay, so basically, first off, I'm type O negative, which is the rarest blood type, but I moved to Arizona a year ago because the Mayo Clinic is one of the top transplant centers in the nation, and I
Yes.
was way too long in California for a kidney.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved to Arizona, and already they're telling me that I'm about a year out from being at the top of the list.
Okay. Right on.
So basically, it's the Mayo Clinic. So if you were
Yeah.
to go onto the Mayo Clinic website and type in www.mayoclinic.com/living donor. So
Mm-hmm.
mayoclinic.com/living donor, you can register for Michael Crawford, and you would just put in my birth date, which is May 31st, 1974. I'm old. I'm 45. So that's it. That's it. And then they would
That's
contact. I've had 10 friends try to donate. So
okay.
awesome. And
That
none
is
of them
awesome.
have qualified yet because
Uh-huh.
of health issues or past possible drug use or things like that
Okay.
disqualify people very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, overweight disqualified.
Yeah,
It's very serious for them because they're one of the top clinics and they don't have many rejections,
for
so
sure.
they don't want to take bad kidneys and give it to good people.
Yeah, they're top notch. They are. I totally agree. And
Top
man,
notch,
yeah,
yeah.
they
That's
are.
why
State of
between
the
the
art
house.
equipment. State of the art equipment.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hear they have like state of the art equipment.
Oh, they're at the top, man. They're at the top. There's a lot of good stuff there. And between dialysis 3 days a week, and then I have appointments almost every week there, twice, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Go out there and I do blood tests, or I talk to a transplant team. They're on it. They're on it all the time. If I miss an appointment, within 5-10 minutes, they're already texting me.
Oh wow. All right, they're on it like Blue Bonnet. Okay.
Thank you, man. This has been
Hey,
amazing.
it has
And
been.
I actually still have to drive a little bit before I get to my destination in California.
Well, I'm gonna say thank you again as well. Thank you. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for coming on Warriors Quest again, Michael.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Anytime.
All right, you're welcome. Have a good evening then. Bye bye.
You too.
All right, so thank you. We've had Michael Black on the show, everybody, and a great guest, a class act, somebody who's very innovative, has really been able to he's prevented kidney disease from defining who he is. I've been honored to have him on the show. Please, look at it. Look at his book on Amazon, and if you feel inspired as well because of all that he does, and he really does all that he can not to let this disease hinder him in any way. Please, it's still a disease, and it still is something that prevents him from being 100%. Okay, so please, if you feel inspired, please go to the website that he's mentioned, and please apply to be a kidney donor for Michael Black. But thank you for watching tonight. Please be kind and share. That helps promote not only Warriors Quest, because you've done that in the past for this show, and I want to thank you. You've made this show extremely successful, but it also helps the kidney warrior and increases the chances for that kidney warrior to get more exposure, and helps our reach for that kidney warrior to reach somebody who feels inspired to become a living kidney donor. So please share. All right. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. All right. Watch some football tomorrow. Spend some time with your family. All right. Thank you for the Urban Health Outreach Media Network. Peace. I'm out.